How is water sacred to you?
Why is water sacred to me?
I would say it's sacred because I grew up in Middletown, so I was going to the beach and even the bay all the time.
Water, as much as we need it, we have to treat it very carefully, because if we don't, we're sunk, literally.
That water's sacred is because it's such a vital resource, like it's everywhere, but the water that we need, it's only like 3% or something like that, very small percentage of the planet that we have access to. So it's just important that we don't take it for granted.
The sacredness of our relation to water comes from being in right relationship with the water.
We can't survive without water. Water is the most important thing for all creatures. So it's not just that we have to think about ourselves, but we have to think about every living creature on this planet. Yeah, I'm very afraid. So that's why I work so hard for what I do.
And I think it's just an important part of like my childhood and growing up, and just kind of, it's a very beautiful but also like important ecosystem. So I think just that's how it's become sacred. And as I've grown older, started to see things like the pollution and plastic and things like that, and realizing that it's like it is sacred and it needs to be protected. It's not just going to like thrive on its own at this point.
Water is the conduit of life, and it is also the conduit of problems.
Water is very important to me just because I feel like I find peace with it, like comfort and joy, just especially living near the ocean. I often go to Sandy Hook just to relax and just be in touch with nature and water.
I live by the beach, so having clean water is very important, a big part of my life, especially in the summer. I paddleboard, I go in the ocean all the time, so it's really important to me to keep those activities going and to keep the water clean.
So water, first of all, represents play for me. There's nothing more sacred for me in life than that authentic quality of being in play, which comes natural to children. And as adults, we get a little weird around that.
If we don't have clean water, we have filthy water. With filthy water, we have oysters we can't eat if we get oysters at all. We have water filled with plastic particles which can damage our health, our sexual reproduction, you name it.
Water is sacred. We see the droughts across the country and throughout the world, so we need water for food, for fun, for everything.
Yeah, it's definitely sacred, and it's so sad to see people go without it, and we should all step up and do what we can.
Water is the basis of all life. I mean, all life started in our oceans.
Water is sacred to me as the place where life on Earth began, and I feel like we can all sort of feel that deep within us.
I grew up in North Jersey, but every summer I'd come down to Long Beach Island, and so the ocean's always been such like a safe and kind of peaceful place for me.
It provides so much for us from the very beginning of time.
I think that people underestimate how powerful the ocean is. Even though it's so powerful, we still need to do our part in helping protect it, because it contains so many, I think the majority of the world's organisms and life.
For me, I grew up in Long Branch, so I'm really lucky that the beach has always been right there for me. And always at the end of a really long day, I can just sit on the beach and just watch the water. You can really reflect on how small your problems are when you have this huge ocean right in front of you.
One of our key tenets is the fact that water is sacred. So would you say water is sacred to the turtles?
Absolutely. It is their life. I mean, these guys spend all their time in the water outside of coming up to nest, which is kind of, we're approaching nesting season right now. So a lot of times, we're never going to see these guys really up on land unless they are nesting. So the water is life to them. The water is home.
Water is sacred. We need it to sustain life. That is sacred. We need to drink lots of it too. I think in general, we're all underhydrated.
There's only a finite amount of water. So yes, it's sacred, it's precious.
Water means so much to me. Water is important to me in so many ways, mainly through what I drink and what I eat, but also what I enjoy to play in and recreate in. So the ocean. So all things lead to the ocean. So waterways inland come to the ocean, and I want everything clean for not only me to enjoy, my family, but also for the animals and critters and wildlife that live in there. So water is precious, and we should all take care of it.
Water is sacred to me. I think it's really just the foundation of all life. You know, humans are made of mostly water. Everything around us needs water to survive, and I think because it is the foundation, it deserves to be treated with respect and to be treated for just how important it is. So water is extremely sacred.
Water, in particular salt water, has always been sacred to me, and that's based on what my mom would tell me when I was a little infant baby. I was happiest when I was splashing around at the shore, crawling into the ocean or getting sandy, and so it comes from a very early place, and you know, that's when you have to think about that connection. And you know, so it's always been special to me. I always wanted to be a marine biologist. I wound up being an ocean advocate, but which is pretty close, but I find such strength and a sense of awe from the ocean. It's life-sustaining. We have to protect it and treasure it, not just for today, but for future generations. Thank you, Waterspirit, for all your great work and for being here today and for bringing such an important element of spirituality and of the sacredness of water.
I mean, I think people can be very involved in ecological things without being involved in spirituality. But for me, it's important. It integrates who I am much better. I like to meditate on the environment. I like to be out in nature and things, and not just rushing about my daily business. So I think it's up to each individual. For me, it's important. Without water, I mean, there's just no life. And you know, I've lived overseas in places like Guatemala and Mexico. I lived in a little Mexican village where there were like 6 water taps, and people were washing their clothes in drainage ditches and things. You just realize how amazingly lucky we are to have water coming out of a tap. I had to cart my water from a water tap back to my little place. And one of the things I remember that I didn't ever think about that Waterspirit told me about was all the water that exists on this planet is here. We'll never see another drop of water on this planet, so we got to take care of what we got.
As a child, I grew up on the water. So I've had a lifelong relationship, a lifelong love of local bays and the ocean, certainly the Atlantic Ocean. We moved to New Jersey and Red Bank 2.5 years ago, and we moved into a neighborhood adjacent to the swimming river. And I told my wife, if we're going to buy this house, I'm going to be a water protector. Here I am, water protector.
To be introduced to an organization that specifically takes a faith-centered approach, I find it so unique in its programming and the work that they do. It truly highlights the fact that it flows through everything and everyone, and it is something that connects us all. And I truly do feel that the more and more I learn about their program and the more and more I learn about the work they do, it's something that I think we should all keep in mind, to be just conscious of the way we use water, the way we treat water.
Faith is a universal human quality, and we have learned since Earth Day started a relatively long time ago now, 1970, we have learned that if we're going to be successful in this venture of living in harmony with the natural world, which we're not doing right now, very destructive habits, unfortunately, that we have. But if we're going to turn the corner and become more effective stewards of the rivers, the lands, then it will come from our love of the land. And that's really what Waterspirit is trying to cultivate. We're a part not only of the earth, we're part of the universe. And part of our understanding of who we are comes from understanding that all of the elements cycle on our planet. Interbeing is an understanding, a conscious understanding, that the food we eat comes from the rains that fall from the sky. The way our human bodies grow into adulthood is a product of that relationship with all of the elements and the food we're consuming. So we are nature. It very constitutive nature of what a human body is it comes from nature. We're part of nature, and interbeing is a perspective that really focuses our attention on how everything is interdependent in our world, and we need to be conscious of our social and our physical interconnections with the planet.
All right, it was a great day here at Ecofest. Met some amazing people with some amazing stories and organizations all working to protect the environment. I'm Nina D. Simone, Communications at Waterspirit. Thank you so much for watching.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our other content, where you can find our eco-spiritual programs, educational videos, coverage of our water advocacy campaigns in New Jersey and at the United Nations, and more. To stay up to date on the latest news and events surrounding all things Waterspirit, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn, and subscribe to our weekly newsletter. All links can be found in the description below.